What is up, duelists? Arts and Crafts here, once again bringing you your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! Goat Format action. Today's feature match, we've got Eraser 91 versus Joker 88. As always, both players rated in the top 200 of the Dueling Book Goat Format ladder at the time this match was played. Let's hop right into it. It looks like Eraser won that RPS. They will choose to go first. And they will start with a delinquent duo, so pretty nice. Likely that they will be going up a card here. Get some information about what Joker 88 is playing. See what they snag. They hit a Tsukuyomi. Cool. Definitely a staple in the format. Lets you know your opponent's probably on some sort of flip monster action there. And you also see a Chaos Sorcerer hit the grave there for Joker 88. Not particularly alive at the moment. Probably signifies they don't have any sort of like Thunder Dragon or anything in their hand. But Eraser off to a really nice start there. You know you're playing against a Chaos strategy, and you're up a card. See if they have anything to follow it up. We're going to go normal summon King Tiger Wahoo. Wow. Main deck King Tiger is not something you see every day. But if you're catching Joker running some scapegoats, it could be pretty nice. And it is just, monster here to pressure the opponent when you're up some cards, so not bad. A couple of back row here as well. So solid start here for Eraser. We'll see if Joker can deal with this early pressure. We're going to get an immediate Trap Dust Shoot out of Eraser. So we'll get to see what both players are rocking in their hands. Oh, wow, so Eraser got a Gearfried the Iron Knight in hand, so potentially a little bit of, like, Gearfried warrior stuff coming on here. Pretty interesting. Not something you see every day on the ladder. And Joker looks like they're playing so far just pretty standard Chaos Turbo. Turbo till proven otherwise, right? Couple good Dust Shoot targets here, Kaiku and Spy. And you see Jar and Raigeki Break as well. I guess if you have a way to deal with set monsters, you probably just take the Kaiku. If you have a Battle Trap, maybe you get rid of the Spy. So I think depending on what Eraser's back row is, and what their Rota targets are, both monsters are definitely totally fine to see taken here. Gonna pick the Kaiku, worried about beating over the King Tiger, is the idea there. And then maybe you can just go like Rota for Exile to deal with the Spy, is probably the plan. So Kaiku will get shuffled back, and you know there's a Raigeki Break for you to deal with as well. Joker's gonna set Spy, set a back row pass, probably the Jar of Greed. But Eraser does have the end phase MST to pop the back row, which is pretty nice. Jar of Greed, of course, is actually really good when you get hit with Trap Dust Shoot because it, basically represents an unknown card once it cycles. But having the MST to pop it before Joker can use it to get the draw off means that they're going to be able to play with perfect information or close to perfect information for longer than they would have otherwise. So nice play here, sniping that Jar with the MST. Then, like I said, you can go Rota for Mystic Swordsman, Rota for Exiled Forest, deal with this Spy, and start getting in for a lot of damage here as Eraser. Yeah, gonna go fire up this Rota, grab the Exiled. Ooh, looks like they top deck Graceful Charity for turn as well, so firing off the Rota to thin the deck first definitely makes sense. And then they're going to discard the Exiled and another copy of King Tiger off of that Graceful. Interesting play there. Maybe found like a knock or something off that Graceful so they don't need the Exiled, is the idea. No, we're just gonna go straight to battle phase. We'll have King Tiger flip into the Spy. Okay, so it'll prevent the second Spy effect from coming out. But then you still have this 2000 attack wall in your way, which is a little bit odd to me. But maybe you have something else to deal with it. Maybe Ring of Destruction. I feel like going for the Exile play is probably just better, though. Kind of interesting. I guess we'll see what they kept off the Graceful. It's these two back row, because we know the Gearfried is in hand. So yeah, we'll see exactly why they went for that play. Joker here gets to draw for turn. We know they had Raigeki Break in hand. Gonna set a couple of back rows so we know for sure one of those is Raigeki Break. Meaning one of those is for sure a dead back row because Joker has no cards in hand. But the other one definitely could be something real. We're gonna get end phase Jar of Greed from Eraser. Going for it in the end phase to play around, I guess, like a Royal Decree maybe, if Joker's running that, although that seems unlikely. And if I feel like you'd rather have kept the Exiled over the Jar of Greed so that you could have exiled the Spy. I feel like Exiled in that case is just better than any old card. So kind of a weird play here out of Eraser. We'll see if they get punished for it, though. And maybe this other back row is something that deals with the Spy, so it doesn't really matter. Let's see, though. They got two fresh cards here. Gonna go for another Rota. We're gonna go Rota into DD Warrior Lady. If that's your out for the Spy, then you should have just kept the Exiled, right? Okay, we're gonna go DD Warrior Lady, crash into Spy, banish them. Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a 1-for-1 delayed, but you could have already put down 1700 damage on the opponent. So kind of a strange play there, but it's going to be fine, I guess. And now the board is clear for King Tiger to get in for 17. Not too bad. And we got another back row here to pass, keeping that Gearfried in hand. Joker is going to go fire off another Jar of Greed. Okay, so seeing some more cards here. And they found a Thunder Dragon, yeah, so confirming pretty much Chaos Turbo here. Grab a couple copies of that T-Drag. Still 3 cards in hand, so playing around. Dust Shoot as well. And they're just going to go set a Monster Pass, keep those 2 T-Drags in hand. Nothing too crazy. Eraser is going to go ahead, slam down this Gearfried in main phase 1, playing kind of into Torrential a little bit, although, unless it's like Sinister or Sangan, Joker would be popping their own monster. Playing into Mirror Force here, though, as well. Oh, no, but I guess you know that set is Raigeki Break, so never mind. It is a live Raigeki Break. But Joker here, fine with getting their Dekoichi beat over, cycling it for a card. And now maybe you might want to Raigeki Break this King Tiger to protect your life points, potentially. Although we'll see. Yeah, we're going to Raigeki Break, discard a T-Drag, kill the King Tiger. That's fine. Keep your life points at 6,300. Try and stabilize as best as possible. When we're going to get main phase 2, set a back row, activate Smoke Grenade of the Thief, so they are just playing typical Gearfried stuff. This will be able to rip a card out of the opponent's hand, so you know your options are Thunder Dragon or whatever their unknown was. So let's see. Ooh, a Delinquent Duo. Okay, so 2 super duper dead cards here. I guess you'd probably rip out the Thunder Dragon, I guess. Kind of an interesting choice. Not sure which one is better, because neither card really does anything at the moment. Gonna rip out that T-Drag, though. I think that's totally fine. Yeah, I guess it makes, like... Yeah, I don't... It makes, like, Sinister Serpent a little bit worse if you get rid of the Thunder Dragons. And now that you know about Duo, you can just kind of pretty easily play around it at this point. So, and honestly, if your opponent wants to take 1,000 damage when you're beating down on them, go ahead, I guess, right? So yeah, grab the Thunder Dragon. I think that's fine. Now Joker here has a dead Duo in hand and 1 unknown to deal with this Gearfried the Iron Knight bearing down on them. Just going to set a couple back row pass. So obviously one of those is the Duo. 1 unknown to worry about for Eraser. We'll see how they choose to play around this. Just going to go straight to battle phase, get in with Gearfried, drop the opponent to 45, add another back row pass. Not too bad. Gearfried represents a nice clock here at the moment. Joker just draws a back row, sets a pass. We'll get end phase Blast with Chain on the Gearfried, so another little 2-card combo with the Gearfried to pop a card. Probably just pick the new back row. And you hit an MST. Okay. Totally fine. Nice 1-for-1 trade. You want to keep the board nice and simplified while you are the one with board advantage, so definitely makes sense there. Ooh, and Eraser just top decks Gearfried number 2 here. So going to get in for 3,600. This speeds up the clock pretty immensely. And Joker, ooh, did hold the Mirror Force, though, so a little bit of a tricky play there. Could have gone ahead and Mirror Force the Gearfried last time, but holding it until Eraser... You know, Eraser has shown that they're not willing to play around Mirror Force earlier when they summon the Gearfried with their King Tiger. So Joker may be reading that and saying, you know what, I think if I hold this Mirror Force, there's a chance I'm going to get more value out of it. So basically paying 1,800 life points for the chance to get more value out of their Mirror Force and getting rewarded for it. Getting this nice 2-for-1, wiping Eraser's board. And now Joker might be able to grind their way back into this one. Ooh, Solemn Judgment out of Eraser, though. Okay, so never mind. Eraser here, not playing into Mirror Force because they had the Solemn to back it up. That's pretty nice. You know your opponent just has a dead Duo there, so you're going to Solemn this all day, keep your board alive, and pass with lethal on board. Really nice play there out of Eraser. That is why Solemn Judgment is so good in aggressive decks, because it allows you to preserve this tempo and board and life point advantage. And now Joker... Got to find an out here, unless it's just GG. Ooh, top deck Graceful Charity. Okay. Could maybe find something to deal with here, but no, looks like they just drew complete air. And Eraser will take down game number 1 with Gearfried, which is pretty cool. Joker on this Chaos Turbo list will be able to go first. You saw, yeah, Gearfried's kind of interesting. It plays often just like a normal warrior list, but with the ability to force more 1-for-1 trades and get like pseudo dust shoots off of those smoke grenades as well. So using both of those, you know, we saw Blast with Chain, we saw Smoke Grenade, both get activated that turn, really kept the board state nice and simplified. And when both players are in near top deck mode, having an 1800 attack point beater on the board or two is generally a recipe for success. We'll see if Joker, you probably just side into all of your anti-aggro stuff here. Like Zambira, right on cue there. Nice big body, beats over the Gearfrieds and most other monsters in Warrior deck. So we're going to go normal summon Zambira, set a back row pass. Eraser here, looks like they're a little bit monster brick, just going to set a back row pass, and so very nice advantage right up the gate here for Joker, especially if they can find a threat to apply to the board and start getting in for some damage. The one thing Zambira cannot do, right? And Breaker right on cue coming down as well, so really nice opening here from Joker. We're going to get this Breaker to come down. Eraser basically needs Torrential, otherwise they're going to be in a really bad spot. And they hit just a bluff set Smoke Grenade of the Thief, so Eraser here potentially very bricked out here. That is the downside of playing Gearfried compared to Standard Warrior, is that when you're relying on like these cheeky little 1-2 card combos, sometimes you just won't draw the right parts of the puzzle, right? And you just won't have anything to do, and you'll get slowly whittled away by stuff like Breaker, the Magical Warrior. Well, Zambira can't get in for 2100, but I like the effort there. Breaker can get in for 16 though, and Joker will just pass turn, establishing this clock, already up like half a card. Looking pretty nice. Eraser, though, not out of it just yet. They're going to go T-set pass. Not sure exactly. I mean, we know Eraser is on spies here, which could be nice here. Zambira can kill one of them, but then the second spy will wall out the now 1900 attack point Zambira. So spy would actually be pretty nice in this scenario. Joker's going to go Zambira beat over. Okay, it's DD Warrior Lady, so going to be able to remove that Zambira in a nice 1-for-1 trade, preventing it from getting a lot of advantage. Keeping the dark out of Joker's grave as well can be nice if they have chaos in hand. So getting nice use out of DD Warrior Lady, just kind of a very versatile jack-of-all trade sort of monster. Breaker will stick around to beat in for 16 though, and Eraser is a little bit behind now. Another set monster for Joker to keep up the pressure. You can see the benefit of going first here for Joker. They're just able to keep applying threats to the board while Eraser has to deal with them one by one. And in the meantime, you get to get in for damage every turn with the monsters that go unanswered. So Eraser very much on the back foot here, but not out of it just yet. They're going to go Slam. Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer here in main phase 1. We saw them not shuffle their hand, so this must have been in their hand from the beginning, but making sure that they could remove the Zambira with their DD Warrior Lady before going for the Kaiku, so that's more likely to stick around and get more value. So Kaiku can beat over this Breaker, which would be nice. Ooh, but we have Ring of Destruction out of Joker, so maintaining their board advantage. Really big tempo play there, because Eraser had to use their normal summon for this as well. And 1800 damage ain't nothing either when Eraser's already at 4800. So this will drop Eraser down to 3k. And we're just going to concede there. With really not much going on. I guess just pretty bricked up there on their Monarchs and stuff. And yeah, like I'm saying, you can kind of see. That's how these decks sometimes go when you're playing bricky stuff like Gearfrieds and Monarchs. We will get to go to game 3 here, though. Eraser will go first on this Gearfried strategy. See if they fare a little bit better than in game 2. They're just going to go set a couple back row pass. This does not mean that they don't have any monsters, though. It is pretty common for Warrior or Warrior-like strategies to not summon anything turn 1, just to be like a sitting duck for the opponents like Zambiras and stuff. So potentially just holding back here and waiting until they can actually attack with their normal summon for the turn. Joker here, though. Ooh, looks like we have Trap Dust Shoot here as well from Eraser. So we'll get to see what both players are rocking. Yeah, so Eraser here just holding back some of their monsters. Pretty strong hand here. Got Mind Control to deal with potential flips. You've got Kaiku and Blade Knight as threats as well. You're waiting for the Gearfried, so you can use the Smoke Grenade. Ooh, but we see an interesting hand here from Joker. So they've got Thunder Dragon and Spy in hand as the Dust Shoot targets, as well as a Metamorphosis. So Joker potentially a little bit of Chaos Control action here. Just haven't seen any of the Scapegoats or metas here, but this could very well be Turbo siding into Chaos Control, which is a pretty common strategy against aggro decks like Erasers, so that would make sense. And you see some solid like battle traps and removal as well. So yeah, it looks like Joker was pretty prepared for this aggro matchup, as most turbo decks generally are. If you're a Eraser, you do have the Minecon for the Spy, but no way of answering the Spy that's left behind. So honestly, I could see just ripping the Spy out and trying to get as aggressive as possible. Thunder Dragon is a little bit annoying because it does pair well with the Regeki break though. So maybe you just go for the T-Drag and then Minecon the Spy and hope you can deal with the Remnant Spy later on is maybe the play. Yeah, T-Drag will get sent back. That makes sense. And then Joker, you probably just go set Spy, set some back row pass. Probably Sakuretsu Armor, maybe Dust Tornado. Kind of interesting for Joker to have not set both the Dust Tornado and the Sakuretsu Armor, but maybe playing around like Pro Set Heavy Storm. We'll see though. Eraser just going to set a couple back row pass, so not committing the Kaiku or the Blade Knight is a little bit odd to me. Yeah, I feel like if you were going to not go into this Spy, you probably should be sending it back, right? Because if you're not willing to just Minecon this Spy and start getting in damage, like you're the aggro deck, right? You need to be making progress, otherwise Joker will just outvalue you in the long run. So if your plan was just to let this Spy sit around and do nothing, I feel like you probably should just send it back with that Dust Shoot. We're going to get end phase Dust Tornado from Joker, pop one of these back row. Hits a Solemn Judgment as well. Okay, so maybe Eraser being a little bit cautious here, looking to go for a bigger play once I have the Solemn set up, but Joker getting the nice snipe on it. And maybe that actually, if that was Eraser's play and they were being a little bit more conservative, waiting to have Solemn to back up their push, and then it got sniped by Dust Tornado, that's going to feel really bad. And now Joker is going to be in a really nice spot, at least in terms of tempo. Gets to set another backer here as well with the Dust Tornado as well, which is pretty nifty. Could very well be like a Regeki break or something that we knew was in hand. We're going to get Flip Summon Spy, of course. That's going to come through. Summon it out in defense, of course. Against aggro, that's generally what you want to be doing. Poke in for 12, not too bad. And then set a couple back row pass. So very likely that one of the sets is Sakuretsu Armor, one of them is Regeki break. And then some unknown stuff here as well for Eraser to potentially worry about. Gonna draw for a turn. We're gonna go Slam Down Tribe Infected Virus, which is a pretty nice top deck. Doesn't really have discard fodder in hand for it, but I think you're probably fine just pitching that Smoke Grenade unless you bluff set it. So yeah, gonna use Prio. We're gonna discard the Blade Knight though. Okay, so maybe did bluff set the Smoke Grenade and then lost the 50-50 on the Dust Tornado to pop their Solemn, which is another very much feels bad moment. But at least Tribe will be able to clear out these Spies, which is pretty nice. They get to preserve their Minecon for later. Tribe will get in for 16, probably Itasaku here, maybe. No, Joker holding it. Joker's gotten a lot of value out of holding their battle traps so far this game, so I think that's probably fine. Tribe is just a 1600 vanilla when you got 8,000 life points. There's a decent chance you'll find a better use for it later, so I think that's totally fine. Joker's going to draw a monster for turn, set it pass. Okay, not too bad. Could be the remaining Spy in deck to wall out this Tribe potentially. Eraser will draw for turn. Gonna go for that Minecon, and you hit a Sangan. Okay, so this does clear the way for Tribe to beat in, but it does end up being a -1. So Joker successfully baiting out the Minecon that they didn't know about with the Sangan. Pretty nice there. Tribe will get in for 16, though. But now we're going to Saku the Tribe. So that's a little bit interesting. I guess maybe saying, I'm comfortable at 6,400, but not comfortable sub 4K is maybe the idea, which I think is fine. Keeps you like out of maybe BLS range, assuming Eraser's playing that. So Saku there I think is okay. And at least you get your Sangan back next turn. Eraser going to set a back row pass, but that will get hit by Dust Tornado in the end phase. It is a Ring of Destruction. Cool. So another card that's nice to know that you don't have to play around. Joker will get their Sangan back here in end phase. Likely, I guess that other back row has to be Regeki break most of the time. I guess it could be... Could it be an unknown card? Maybe. But it's pretty likely it's Regeki break. We're just going to go start beating in with Sangan, though. Really hard card for Warrior to deal with efficiently. Unless they have, like, pretty much exactly DD Warrior Lady. So just getting in, start applying pressure is really nice here. Get in for 1k. Put Eraser on a 6-turn clock, which ain't nothing. Gonna add a backward pass there as well. Eraser finds Snatch Steal, though. Snatch Steal on Sangan isn't always the best play. It is a net neutral clock. But I guess maybe if you have Mobius in hand, this is your only play. Like, if your hand is Mobius Snatch, I guess you have to do this. They will get the search off the Sangan, but you hope to make up for it by popping both their back row. But we're going to get Book of Moon on the Sangan, though, to go 1-for-1 with Snatch Shield, prevent the summoning, Joker probably recognizing that the only way Eraser ever goes for Snatch on the Sangan here is if they have a Monarch in hand. So you really want to make sure the opponent does not get access to that. So nice play there. Book to deal with the Snatch. Ooh, okay, so Eraser has a Kaiku in hand. That's pretty odd. Not entirely sure why we would go for that Snatch play on the Sangan when all we had in hand was a Kaiku. And now Kaiku's just gonna have to beat into a Sangan, and Joker can search up like a Tsukuyomi or something to deal with it. Seems a little bit odd. But we're not even going to attack in. We're just gonna the which case, the Snatch Sangan makes even less sense to me. And now Joker can just kind of wall out for a really long time. I guess we know. So Eraser did have to this back row underneath the Kaiku must be that bluff set Smoke Grenade. Otherwise, they would have discarded that for the tribe. And so Joker's in an even better position than they would think at this point. And Sangan, like I said, just really hard for Warrior decks and Warrior-like decks to deal with. But in a pretty nice spot here if you're Joker. Just going to add another set monster here. We're going to go flip summon Sangan. We're going to go Metamorphosis to Sangan. Oh no, we're going to flip summon Sangan first. Then go Metamorphosis the set monster, which was Magician of Faith. But we're going to go into Thousand Eyes Restrict. Okay, try and steal this Kaiku. All right, and get in for 18. That's not bad. Good way to deal with the opponent's board. Get a beater on here. I guess we're flip summoning Sangan first to play around potential like Nobleman of Crossout out of Eraser because we haven't seen one of those yet. So you want to flip it before you summon the Thousand Eyes because then you can't. So I think that makes sense. And now this is a nice big clock here for Joker. Eraser's board is dealt with. We know at least one of their cards is just a pure blank. Their other backer I think has been set since turn 1. And we just haven't seen it yet. So I wonder what that could be. Maybe it's like Blast with Chain, right? And then Gearfried is just bricking super hard, which we saw in game 2, right? Eraser finds a DD Assailant, which at least is a nice wall in the way of the Thousand Eyes. So Joker will have to sacrifice this board and just leave their Sangan behind if they want to deal with the DD Assailant. We'll see if they choose to make that decision. Yeah, we're going to go for it. We're going to banish everything, sure. And then we still have the Sangan left around to get in for 1,000. Not bad. Drop Eraser down to 2,900. Sangan is now a 3-turn clock, which is pretty nice. You can see just the value of Sangan when you summon it. Pretty likely to just stick around for a while and be really annoying. And it's doing exactly that. Punishing Eraser for having a pretty bricked draw at this point. Really just needs to find a Gearfried, right? It's kind of the card you built your deck around, and the fact that you didn't see any so far this game means that they're pretty far in the hole. But Joker will take that potentially all the way to the bank here with this Sangan, powered by a couple back row there as well. Eraser draws for turn, set a back row pass. Sangan here can hit in for another 1k. Eraser drops down to 19, add another back row. Sangan, okay. Eraser draws for turn, gonna go Jar of Greed into another thing. And then we're just gonna concede. No outs for the Sangan. That is what happens when you play these Chaos or these Gearfried decks. Yeah. So yeah, Blast with Chain plus Smoke Grenade with no Gearfried to speak of. Had the Kaiku there to deal with it, but then Joker could just search up Tsukuyomi and kill you quite quickly anyway. And it looks like Joker had a ring set to deal with it anyway. So yeah, Joker there, able to basically sided into all the anti-aggro technology. Saw that they were up against an aggro deck, so brought in the Scapegoats, brought in the Metamorphoses, brought in the Sakuretsu Armors, and Gearfried honestly is in a lot of ways just a more bricky warrior deck. So Joker just had to hang on long enough for the deck to kind of lose to itself, drawing no Gearfrieds, drawing no monsters for its monarchs, things like that, and taking it out 2-1. Chaos Control beating Gearfried. Cool to see, kind of a rogue deck here on the ladder, although it didn't work out super well besides game 1. But such is life when you're playing rogue stuff, so definitely, still appreciate coming out with some of this forbidden technology, right? Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will catch you all next time.